Welcome to my channel. My name is Eyeshadow, and today I'm going to show you the eyebrow and eyeshadow tutorial that I use to create this beautiful warm orange fall time look. So if you're interested, keep watching. I'm kind of a lazy brow doer, so now I lean more towards a nice light fluffy brow because I just find it to be way easier if you just accept that your brows are not twins or sisters. They are distant cousins. For my brows today, I'm going to be using ColourPop Tinted Brow Wax. I just love this because it's so affordable. To activate this brow wax, I'm just going to go ahead and spray a little bit of the all-nighter setting spray inside, and it just basically hydrates the brow wax. I'm just swirling my spoolie, and now it's time to apply the wax to the brows. I'm going to bring you in so you can see everything. Applying the product all through my brows, brushing my brows upwards, getting them nice and saturated. I have this weird little like patch right here, so I try to brush it a little bit sideways to cover the baldness, and then I brush it upwards in the front. And now that my brow is nice and saturated with the product, I'm gonna grab a Q-tip with a little bit of witch hazel on it. You can also use micellar water, but I just used what was close to me. And I'm gonna use this Q-tip to basically clean up any product that got on my skin. I'm also using it to take off any excess product. So a little bit in the front, and then going around the edges and down the side, just to create that nice structured brow, get rid of any excess product. Then I'm gonna use my spoolie, go back over and make sure that I follow the same line that we just created, but I want it to look a little bit more natural and not as clean. So I'm just flicking a few of those hairs upwards. Now we're just gonna do the other side while that dries. Again, just putting the product through the brow, then using my Q-tip, getting off that excess product. I like it to be flicked upwards in the front. I feel like it's a part of like the vibe of the fluffy brow to have it flicked upward in the front. And going around with our Q-tip, we're gonna do the same thing that we did to the other one, make sure it's like flicked up. Okay, so now our brows are drying. I'm gonna go in with this NYX Lift and Snatch pen. It's in the shade Espresso. Let's make sure it's not dried out. Excellent. Can you see that? It's a very chocolatey brown, not too dark, not too red. And we're just gonna use that to fill in the super sparse areas. I don't really want my brows to be absolutely perfect. That's not the vibe we're going for today. But we're gonna fill in that weird little divot that I have at the front of my brow and just any other sparse areas. We want them to look as similar as possible, so I'm gonna try to fill it in at that little area too. Fill it in here, all the way through the front so they're both the same color, and all the way down. Just so everything is nice and cohesive color-wise. Okay, and to make sure that everything is nice and blended, I'm gonna go back, grab my spoolie, and I brush everything through. Honestly, what's so great about this product is even after it dries, it doesn't flake. You can still kind of play with the brow. When you brush through it after it's already dried, you kind of are pushing those hairs even further down on your face and really getting that beautiful like lamination effect. We're gonna use that Q-tip again to once again clean up the brows, going around the edges in the front to make sure there's no excess product. Also making sure that that's a nice little fade. You don't want it to be too dark in the front. Going around the edges, making sure they're nice and structured, but not too structured. And the reason I do that whole cleanup process twice is to really make sure that I don't have a buildup of the wax on my face, because it creates this weird rippling under your foundation and stuff like that. So using the wet side to go around, clean up everything, then flipping to the dry side of the Q-tip, clean up the extra product. Using the brush and flick for feathering. Now it's time to go ahead and clean up around the brows. And to do that, I'm gonna use my Makeup Forever HD palette. I really like the consistency of these foundations. I'm gonna use this guy. It's very similar to my actual skin tone, so I don't have to worry too much about blending. It just keeps things simple. I'm gonna use this. It's a Morphe M705 brush. It's like this weird little angled brush. And you can really use any angled brush, but this is the brush I'm using to carve out the brow and clean up everything. Super simple, you can barely see it. It's great, it matches my skin tone so well. That's why I love to use it. And at the bottom, in the front, I just add a tiny bit of product, but I don't really focus too much on that. Then I'm gonna grab this blender brush right here. This is a iconic London brush. It doesn't have a number because that would make life too easy. And I'm just using it to blend in that foundation, pushing it through the hairs themselves so everything is nice and blended and looks the same. And I really like this because sometimes concealers can be too thick under the brow, but you still want something to clean up your brow. But this is just a no fuss type of way. As you can see, because you're really close up to me, I barely even wax my brows. I'm kind of a fur monster. It's my style. Actually, it's just pure laziness. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But I use this to give my eyebrows some type of shape and definition. I'm gonna go back in with my spoolie, make sure everything's not too organized, you know? And then we're gonna go ahead and do the other brow, lining the top and then at the bottom. Oop, I didn't put any in the front. Because you don't want your brow to be too blocky. I kind of use the foundation to blend the front of the brow, and I kind of blend on top of the hairs so it'll create more of a gradient look. We don't want it to give 2016 brow. Even though that brow was iconic, we don't want it to give that. In the front though, you can see the product isn't blended in with the brow, so we're gonna pull it through the hairs using upward motions and really make sure that's nice and blended out. For my tails, because I realized the tail on this side is a little short, I'm just gonna use some quick flicking motions to just elongate it a little bit. Really make sure that's nice and pronounced. But they don't have to be perfect because my brows are not twins. They're not sisters, and they are distant cousins who may not even talk to each other, you know? So let's move on to the eyeshadow next. Also, I turned on some more lights. I feel like it's slightly better. Today we're gonna be using my original Juvia's Place Culture palette. It is very well loved. I have used so many shadows in this palette, but what I wanted to do today is I really wanted to create a warm, smoky eye that's easy to wear. We're trying to be the Kim Kardashians of our family this Thanksgiving. To go ahead and start off my eyes, I'm gonna use a little bit of this Born This Way concealer. I'm just gonna apply a little bit on the lids. It'll make everything nice and cohesive. And it'll also, when I apply my setting powder on top, help the shadows blend out. So we're just patting that in. And this is a MAC 170 brush. I'm pushing that into the skin. You see, it's a lot lighter and it's a lot more cohesive in general in color. Doing the same thing on the other side. And really, I don't have any product on my eyes at all besides just a little bit of moisturizer. Okay, next I'm gonna grab my Huda Beauty banana powder. All of my makeup is going to be really gross looking because I actually use it and I use it a lot. And I'm just dabbing that powder into the skin using a Sephora Pro Precision Blush Brush, apparently. Just tapping that in. I like this brush for powders. Gets the job done when I'm impatient. It's very large. A lot of Juvia's Place shadows, they kind of look different when you put them on the eye. So let's see what this looks like on the eye. All right, so we're going to go into 1960 from the Juvia's Place palette. It's this kind of like burnt orange color. We're going to take that and then we're going to put it on the outsides of the eye. See, I knew it. I knew it was gonna be pigmented. Okay, good. That's what we like to see. And we're just really packing this onto the lid. Just tapping that into the lid. And I'm kind of leaving a little space in the middle, but it's not that serious. This shadow, especially on my skin tone, it's gonna be really easy to blend out. I'm not too worried about how messy it is. And I also, one of my tricks is because it's so hard to get directly in that crease, you know, it's kind of hard to pack shadow in that area. So I like to lift my brows just to make everything nice and tight, and it really helps you apply. I was using the Vintage Cosmetic Company brush. It says step 2 for the shadow. Now I'm using a MAC 224 brush, completely clean. And I'm just going to use swiping motions around the shadow just to blend everything out. Just so we can see what blending we're working with here. It's super easy to blend in, but it's okay because we're gonna blend it, we're gonna add more. So I'm dipping back into 1960 and I'm adding that shadow right back on top. You see how pigmented it used to be? And then I'm going to be a tiny bit more careful this time during my blending. Okay, and that's what we're looking like. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I'm packing that shadow on the inner and outer portion of the lid. And as you can tell, I can blend this so well, so I don't have to be too afraid. If you use shadows that are similar to your skin tone, it's really easy to blend them out. And for me, those are neutrals and oranges and yellows. I find it super hilarious because I could do the same thing on both eyes, but they always somewhat look different. So we're just blending this guy in. We're gonna go back and add some more, being a little bit more careful to make it look nice this time. So we want to keep a little bit more of this pigment. And same thing, blending. So that's giving like the spirit of orange, but it's not giving full blown orange. So we want to add a little bit more. Switch to this super small Morphe M562 brush, and I'm going to jump into Jigwa. Jigwa is a little bit more bright. And I'm just going to tap that over the lid. More so towards the center. I'm going to go ahead and fill that little halo we had there because I kind of feel like Jigwa might be bright enough to still give me the look I'm looking for. And I'm going back in with that brush with 1960, tapping to help blend in that shadow. And we're gonna add the same shadow, same area on the front, on the other eye. Grabbing 1960 again, tapping on the outer corners in the inner corner to help blend. Now I'm gonna grab that, what is this, a MAC brush? I'm lifting my brow so I can really get under that brow and blending, just so everything is nice and cohesive, because I like things to be nice and blown out. I'm gonna go into Wabosa. It's a beautiful burnt orange shade. And I'm gonna use a Sigma E45 brush. We're just tapping that out in there to really warm up everything. And we're gonna do that in the front as well, because I really want this to be fall time. We need some warmth. I just love orange eyeshadows. I never wear them enough though. But I figured since it's fall, it's my excuse. Kind of allowing this shadow to go a little bit above the crease. Gorgeous. Okay, and to make sure everything is blended, remember this brush has absolutely nothing on it. Lifting the brow, going around the edges. I feel like we need some shimmer. So I'm actually gonna jump to another palette. I'm gonna jump to my Nomad Witch City Salem palette. So we're gonna jump into this shadow right here called Witching Hour. I'm just gonna tap it in the very center. How's that looking? Is that too dark? I think it's giving too much brown and not enough orange. So I'm gonna go back in. I'm using Jigwa and I'm just tapping that on top. I think I want it to be lighter. But let me look back in my collection and see if I can find something. And it's still giving like the spirit of some shimmer, but it's not giving full-blown shimmer. I was searching for an orange shimmer that would pull orange but wouldn't pull brown. And it was super hard to find, but I found it, I believe, in this Cosmic Brushes Neutrals palette. And it's actually the shade over here that looks white. It's called Radiant. And that's what I want. I want a beautiful orange shimmer in the center. It's gonna give some more dimension to the look, but not too much. I think that looks absolutely stunning. And to finish off this look, I really want to smoke out the bottom lash. So I'm gonna grab this liner. It is the Queen Dragon liner. And I'm going to apply a nice layer to my waterline. Let's take this pointed brush real quick. A 122 brush by P. Louise. And I'm gonna go into Wabosa. And we're just gonna use that to smudge the lower lash. Because we want it to look nice and smoky. I'm gonna go back in and apply even more. Look nice and smoky. Gorgeous. I love this. It's gonna look so pretty when I get my lashes on. Now we're gonna use our fluffy brush that we used earlier, go into Jigwa, which was that lightest orange shade. We're just gonna lightly puff that into the lower lash. This is just going to make everything nice and cohesive, and it'll also help. You can use this shade to blend your concealer into your eyeshadow later, just so you don't have that really harsh line and you keep everything nice and blurred. For mascara, I'm gonna be using my L'Oreal Panorama mascara. So I'm gonna apply a nice layer to the top and bottom. I really don't care too much for the top. I just don't want my top lashes to be orange, so they'll blend in with the falsies I'm gonna apply. And for the lower lash, I wanna apply a really nice layer, really carry on that sultry smokiness that we had. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. The eyes are pretty much done. All I have to do is put on some lashes. I'm probably going to wear, oh my gosh, I haven't done a faux mink in a long time. I'm gonna do some faux minks. I'm gonna apply these Ardell faux mink lashes, and then I will show you the final look. And this is the final eyeshadow look. I really hope that you like the way that I broke up these tutorials. If you wanna see the foundation tutorial, that will be linked somewhere on my page at some point. I will have it posted as soon as possible. We're about to go walk around the mall. My husband is starving. Hopefully my fabulous makeup will make him forget how long he's been waiting for me to be ready. Let me go ahead and run, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.